Hey everybody, so this video here is going to cover quickly the Michelson Morley experiment. So this here says the Michelson Morley experiment was performed in the basement of a Western Reserve University dormitory in July 1887 by Michelson and Morley, and it was designed to detect the motion of the Earth through the luminiferous ether, a theoretical substance which, according to 19th century physicists, was essential to the transmission of light. So it talks about how they set it up. At the heart of the experiment was an interferometer. Utilized interference of light waves to perform measurements of incredible precision. Although an identical experiment undertaken by Michelson in 80-81 failed to detect any motion of the Earth relative to the ether. Leading physicists were anxious for a repetition, thus encouraged Michelson and Morley first undertook a series of preliminary measurements of the velocity of light in moving fluids. After these measurements were successfully completed, the two men constructed an interferometer which was larger and more sensitive than the original interferometer. Earlier difficulties caused by extraneous vibrations were resolved when Morley designed an ingenious mounting for the device, which the interferometer rested on a large sandstone slab which rotated while floating in a pool of mercury. Despite these improvements and the great collaboration of these two great experimental scientists, the experiment again failed to detect any motion of the expected magnitude. This incongruous result puzzled physicists of the world until 1905, when Einstein published his theory of relativity. Viewed in the light of Einstein's revolutionary work, the null results of the Michelson-Morley experiment were not only predictable, but provided experimental confirmation of Einstein's theory. So I just wanted to say real quick about this. So let's start with Einstein. So they saw that it detected no motion to the Earth. So they call it a null result, null on the motion. But when they say null, when they repeat it, like when people like Neil Tyson talk about it, they say it's called the greatest null result. That makes it, and they promote it and say it like it's a failed experiment. It failed to detect. It actually failed to show motion. It didn't fail to detect ether. Ether is something that I don't even know if you can really test. It's what is claimed. It's only like properties of the physical world are that light can propagate through it, and maybe some sort of magnetism or electromagnetism. So like testing it is a different thing. It would just kind of be there and explain light movement, because the idea is that things need a medium to propagate through. If you're in a complete vacuum where there's nothing, you're going to if you're in a complete vacuum where there's nothing, it's going to be, you're not going to have anything to push off of. So they say that it's a no result, and now what they do is they also say here it's now predictable. So we know that this thing is showing no motion. So now what relativity says is we're going to claim that you will detect no motion on your interferometer because it's all relative and the speed of light is a constant. So now they did the experiment, got the result. Now they take that result, put it into their hypothesis, and now they can say, oh, it's a prediction. And this does happen in science, but that's what they're doing here. It's not a blank. It's not the first time experimenting about something on a frontier and then they make a prediction and it's accurate. This is going back and trying to interpret data and then explain it, and thus it's now predictable, because your theory can explain something and predict it. So they did detect no motion to the Earth. This light didn't move. It was sensitive enough to detect motion and shows none. This experiment shows that the Earth is not moving. Einstein says you can believe it is moving, it just doesn't feel like it, and we can't measure it. This is what Einstein was talking about. So this is the Michelson-Morley experiment, and it detected no motion to the fixed Earth. Peace.